Hello, everybody. Gawai Daigaho. I'm so thrilled to be here today with Chinese Americans for Biden. And what a day to be here. 88 days before the election. We know 8 is such a lucky number, but you know what? We have double luck today because it's 88 days. And I am so hopeful that we will, with all of our work with an engaged group of Chinese Americans from all across the nation, can work to get Joe Biden as our next president of the United States. You know, my father was born here, but he brought my mother as an immigrant from Guangdong, China. And she immigrated here because of the promise of the American dream. With Trump, we've seen that American dream fail. And that's why we need Joe Biden's leadership now more than ever. We are in the middle of dual crises that we could never have imagined. A global pandemic that has taken over 160,000 American lives, as well as systemic racism and inequality deeply rooted in our country. And while this pandemic has impacted the lives of all Americans, it's also taken a disproportionate toll on the health and well-being of communities of color, including millions of Chinese American workers, families, and small businesses. And it's so horrendous that we have a president right now who's completely abdicated his leadership. Rather than taking responsibility and leading our nation through this crisis, Donald Trump has decided to stoke xenophobia and fear in order to deflect blame for his failed response to the coronavirus. And who is he putting that fear on? Of Chinese Americans. He's repeatedly referred to the coronavirus as a Chinese virus or Kung flu. He's put Asian American lives at risk, and he's waged a particularly vicious war against immigrant communities. In recent months, we've seen how he's used this pandemic to further his anti-immigrant agenda. He's issued executive orders halting nearly all forms of legal immigration to the United States, including suspending family visas and H-1B visas through which many Chinese Americans come to the United States. And rather than celebrating our nation's diversity and welcoming immigrants to our shores, he's chosen to slam the door on immigration to this country at a time when we need the economic contributions of immigrants more than ever to recover from this crisis. Now, in Congress, I've been a strong champion for immigrant families for many years. And so it breaks my heart to see families separated by time and distance, or to hear about the challenges they face due to our broken immigration system. Well, thankfully, Joe Biden understands these challenges. That's why, as president, he will immediately begin working with Congress to pass comprehensive legislation to modernize our immigration system, with a priority on keeping families together, addressing backlogs, providing a roadmap to citizenship for nearly 11 million undocumented immigrants, which include 1.7 million Asian Americans. And I can't wait to support him in this effort. America needs a leader, especially now, who can govern in difficult times and move our country forward. We need a president who will fight for all of us. We need a president who will reject the hateful rhetoric that is right now being used to divide us. Our country can't afford 4 more years of chaos, corruption, and ineffective leadership. We need a leader like Joe Biden who understands the issues that matter the most to our community: immigration reform, education, healthcare, and the economy. He has the experience and compassion that all Americans are looking for. And we, the Chinese American community, can be the secret weapon in Joe Biden's victory. Asian Americans are the fastest growing racial group in the U.S. and the fastest growing portion of the U.S. electorate. We've doubled our voter registration numbers over the last decade from 2 to 4 million people. And by 2040, we will have even doubled those numbers. And let me tell you why this is so important. I actually think this could be a close election. We see Donald Trump trying to subvert this election by delaying the date of the election and even undermining the post office. The way for us to combat it is to have the largest vote possible for Joe Biden. And we Chinese Americans can truly make the difference, especially in the key swing states all across the nation. That's why I like to say we've gone from being marginalized to the margin of victory. So let's do everything we can to make sure that Chinese Americans show up at the polls to support Joe Biden and that we are the margin of victory in November 2020 and beyond.